Hey there, everyone. I'm Liz with Premier Yarns, and thank you so much for joining me today. I love seeing where everyone is joining from in the chat, so keep those coming. We have a lot of people in class today, so I'm really excited about that. Today's a temperature blanket, and I guess it's kind of fitting because the temperature has been pretty cold lately. I am in Louisville, Kentucky. I see some people from Virginia, Ohio, Texas. Hi, everyone, Vegas, Illinois. So thanks so much for joining me today and spending a little bit in New Jersey of your Saturday with me. Yeah, so let me show you first what our little project is, and then we'll switch to my hands view and we'll get started with the tutorial. Okay, here is the temperature blanket. Let me back up a bit so you can see it. It's really large because it has a stripe for every day of the year. So if we go with purple, this purple as being the coldest, and then kind of change colors as the range of temperatures change, right? So as you can see, we've got the cool colors, and then you have a few of these warm colors coming into play, and then they just get warmer and warmer and all the way down to, they're stuck getting cool again. So that's why you have like this beautiful range of colors, and you have a very long blanket because you have a lot of stripes in here, okay? So I know it's hard to see the whole thing, but you get the idea. Let me just explain the concept of the temperature blanket a little bit. Normally you would start, so the first day of January, and then you would pick your colors. For the pattern that I wrote here, I have all the colors already chosen, and then there's a little chart. So if you downloaded your pattern, we can switch over so we can look at the pattern. So if you downloaded your pattern, there's a little chart here. So you can use this chart, or you can totally do it, your own way. If you live in a place where, it kind of stays around the same range, like Florida, for instance, and it's never going to get into like the 20s and the 19s, you could just kind of change it up based on that. So like change your range, maybe do your range within 5 degrees or something like that instead of 10 degrees. But basically we just did like in increments of 10, and then I changed the color for each of the increments, right? So then you would just look at your weather app or whatever and say, okay, it's like 23 today, so today my stripe is going to be amethyst. Or the next day it's 20 again, so I'm still going to go with amethyst. And then you do a stripe for every single day, and that's the basic concept of it. So if you want to make a blanket that takes a whole year to make and you only do one stripe per day, then this is a fun project. If you want to do it all at once, you can just follow this pattern, and I have every single stripe laid out for you here. So you can just follow this pattern and make it look exactly like the one here. Or you could change it and make it your own. You could even do like little tiny, I've seen people do small granny squares for each day, and then they just connect all the granny squares. So there's a lot of different ways you can do it. The probably the main tip I would say, if you're gonna sort of make your own, or maybe change the stitch pattern or something like that, is try to keep a stitch pattern that is short. So if you look here, show you here, these are short stitches. They're all single crochets. So they kind of go into the row below. That's what makes it this cool pattern, which I'll show you how to do. But all these rows are all consisting of single crochets and chains. If you used a stitch pattern that had, say, double crochets, even half double crochets, anything that's a taller stitch, one stripe is going to take up more length in your blanket. So if you think about 365 rows of double crochet or a similar stitch, it's going to be really, really long. The blanket's going to be super long. So you want to stick with short stitches. They don't have to be, like, the width doesn't really matter that much, but the length matters, because you won't really be proportioned. If you have 360 rows, it'll just be too long. So like for this, even this blanket is pretty long. It's, if you look at the pattern, the width measures 61 1/4 inches and the length measures 91. 1/4 inches. So you can see what I mean by having 365 rows could make it really long if you're doing tall stitches. I guess the other thing you could do, if you really want to use something with a double crochet or like a bobble or something like that, you could maybe do 1 stripe for every 2 days. So like maybe if the temperature kind of is in the same range for 2 days, you do 1 stripe every 2 days, and that'll cut it in half. So of course, you know, there's modifications you could make, but the basic idea of a temperature blanket is just that you do a stripe for every day for the range of temperature that it is wherever you live or for wherever you want it to do. So this is the full pattern. Here you've got your notes, just a little bit of notes that I put about the temperature blanket, what we went over. At the top here, you have your, of course, your materials. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. There's 9 different colors here. We're only going to use 4 today because I'm just going to show you a little sample, of course. So we're just going to use these 4. These are my soft classic. So this is a really great yarn for temperature blanket because it comes in many, many different colors. So you can choose whatever colors you want. And it's like a nice smooth worsted weight, which is great for beginners and, you know, easy to use. Let me see if I can pull my chat up, you guys, because I don't want to miss any questions. If you have any questions, I'm going to try to keep an eye on the chat. So just put any questions in the chat. How many chains? We'll get to that. We'll get to the chains. We're going to try to go from the beginning. And if I go too fast, just stop me. And if I go too fast and I can't stop, you can watch the, we're going to have the replay on YouTube for this. Okay. So I'm using just a few of the colors. All the colors are listed here, but we're just going to use a few of these pretty ones of my soft classic loops and threads yarn for the little sample I'm going to show you. I am using my 5.5 millimeter hook. And you just need a pair of scissors. That's all you really need. So right here, best crochet hook. My favorite crochet hooks. Yes, you can use any yarn you want. Just try to stick to a worsted weight and then you should be fine. It might be, the width might be a little bit wider or not so wide depending on the worsted weight, but worsted weight is usually pretty consistent. If you get the same gauge, you should have the exact same width as mine. How many big twist yarn for the blanket? So for this one, I'm using the soft classic, which is similar to big twist, I believe. You could probably use that if you have that. And I'm using 1 ball of each color, and there are 9 total colors. The pattern should be somewhere in the chat if you guys are looking for that. And there it is again. I have a thin yarn. I wouldn't recommend a thin, well, I guess if you're really only doing 1 stripe per day, you could use a thin yarn, you know, since it's going to take you a year anyway. I don't usually use thin yarns for blankets because it takes so long to make. But yeah, you could try it in a thin yarn. You're going to have to make more chains though, but I'll tell you how to do that. Don't worry. Returning crochet or haven't crocheted in 25 years. Is this going to be advanced? Just wait and see. If you have to watch the replay, watch the replay. It's really just chains and single crochet. So it shouldn't be too hard. And when I say the stripe, that just means 1 row of 1 color. Okay. So 5.5 millimeter crochet hook. These are my favorite hooks, but you have to buy them online. But I also like somebody asked my favorite hooks. I also like the Susan Bates hooks. Those are good too. But you know, crochet hooks are really like just a super personal preference. A lot of people like those expensive ones with a thick body, which I can't remember what they're called, but I hate those. So really just try out, I always say, try out some like inexpensive ones, like get the ones from Michael's and see if you like them. And then if you don't, you can go up to something more expensive, but I don't use anything. I just use like something that has a little grip. And I like this, I think they call it inline. So there's like the pointier one, and then there's this sort of kind of, I just like these. It just depends on how you hold it and stuff like that. It's kind of a personal preference. Okay, so the pattern is going to tell you exactly how many to chain. For this pattern, because this is so small, I kind of just copied and pasted the actual instructions. This is a multiple of 8 plus 1 for the chain. So in the pattern, to get it to the width that's in the pattern, which is 61 1/4 inches, I said chain 185, okay? If you want it wider, just chain in multiples of 8 plus 1 for the turning chain. Yeah, furls, those are the ones I don't like those at all. See, it's just like a personal thing. I know people love those. Yeah, so chain multiple of 8 plus 1. And you can't go wrong with that. So if you want a little smaller or if you want a little larger, just do it in multiples of 8 plus 1. For this one, I'm going to just do a sample size, but when you start your blanket, you're going to start with the color of your temperature the day that you start. So let's say it's, what color is this? Let's say today is Saturday and it is 42 degrees. So I'm going to go to my little chart here and it says between 40 and 49, I should use the color Arctic. So I'm going to start with the color Arctic, which is this one. What is the smallest chain for the blankets? The chain for the pattern is 185, but it's in multiples of 8. So you can make a scarf out of it if you want. You can make it as small as you want. You just have to figure out the width of your blanket. So just chain until you say, oh, okay, I kind of like this width, and make sure it's in a multiple of 8, and then you should be good to go. Okay. Can everyone see my hands okay? How many balls of yarn? I think I already answered that one, but it is in the pattern in case you missed it. It's 9 for this one. Okay. Let me just move this because it gets distracted. So I've got my slip knot on the hook. I'll show you how to do a slip knot in case you guys forgot. So I do the tail end over, make a little loop. There's lots of different ways to do this. This is just the way I do it. And then I put my 2 fingers in here. I give it a quick twist and I grab the little tail and pull the tail and the one that's attached to the yarn. And there you have your slip knot. You can loosen it and tighten it. So tighten it a little bit so, you know, it moves around. You don't want it too tight. And I'm just going to chain in multiples of 8. You're going to start your blanket with what the pattern says. So we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I have 8 chains. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Do one more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so that's what I was saying. If you want to modify it, you just start chaining. Make sure your chains are not too tight. Make sure they're nice and loose. You just start chaining till you say, okay, this is about the width that I want my blanket to be. And then you can stop and you can use that. You don't have to use the amount that's in the pattern as long as it's a multiple of 8 plus 1. Okay, so these are my multiples of 8. That's for the pattern. The plus 1 is just for the turning chain. So we're going to do 1. And then my pattern tells me to chain, which we did our chain. And then the first row, which is the setup row, or really the setup row, says single crochet in the second chain from hook and each chain across, and then turn. So let's do that with the same color. We're not changing colors yet. So here is the first chain. I'll show you guys. This is the front of the chain, right? This is the first chain right here. So of course the one on the hook doesn't count as anything. That's just the loop on the hook. This is the first chain. This is the second chain. We're working into the second chain from the hook. So you can go right into that second chain, right into the center of it. I prefer to go into the back bump, and I'll show you how to do that. It always makes a nice cleaner start. So you just turn it. And now you see how you have these little bumps. They look like hills, sort of. I just put my hook under that one bump. So this is the first one. That's the first bump. This is the second bump. So we're going to go right under there. Yarn over, pull through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, pull through 2. That's my single crochet. And now we just need to single crochet all the way across each one of these chains. So into the back bump I go. When you work into the back bump, you're just only going under that one sort of strand or bump of yarn. It's like the back of the chain almost. And this is your setup row. So we're getting set up in the pattern. We haven't sort of gotten into the pattern stitch yet. We're just setting up. Do you do 12 chains, multiple of 8? So you're going to chain a multiple of 8 plus 1. The pattern, you need 8 stitches. You need a multiple of 8 stitches for the pattern. And then you need 1 extra chain for the turning chain. So multiple of 8 plus 1. So that's what that means. If you see a pattern, it says stitch pattern or whatever, multiple of 8 stitches plus 1. That 1 is usually for the turning chain. Unless it says 8 plus 2. If it says like 8 plus 2 plus 1 for the turning chain, that means you need 8, multiple of 8. So like a multiple of 8 would be 16, 24, 32 plus 2. So 2 more stitches plus 1 for the turning chain. But that's a little advanced. That's not counting in this pattern. In this pattern, we just need a multiple of 8 plus 1 for the turning chain. Okay, 8 plus 1 equals 9. Right, but it's not a multiple of 9. And you need more than 9 because if you only did 8 plus 1, you would have your small width, right? You need a multiple of 8. No, not 18. So you need a multiple of 8. So 16, 24, 32, whatever's after that, 40, 48, right? Multiple of 8. That one that I added is just for the turning chain. That's just to bring you up to the height that you need to go so you can work into, remember we worked in the second chain from the hook, not the first chain. So that first chain kind of gets eaten up, right? Just think of it as getting eaten up. We worked into the second chain, so that first chain doesn't do anything. That's why we need to add that extra chain. Now that I've worked a single crochet into each of those chains, this should be a multiple of 8 now. So what I have here should be in a multiple of 8 because I used up that one chain right here to turn. That chain is right there, that extra one that I did. So now let's count that so we can like confirm, right? So this is my first single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. 24, that's a multiple of 8, right? So I have multiple of 8. So if I have a really long, I can just keep going and going as long as I count in 8s and add 1 only for the turning chain. And then once you turn and you work your single crochets, you don't have to worry about the 1 anymore, okay? So let's head back over here. It is a really nice chunky blanket. It's actually super, super thick and there's hardly any like holes in it that you usually see with like a granny or something like that. So it's very thick and cozy. All right, here we are. We did the setup row. If you were to chain 185, like I told you in the pattern, now at this point, you should have 184 single crochets. That's what this is. This is your stitch count, okay? So we chained 185, we single crocheted across, we turned our work, and then you should end up with 184 single crochets because that one extra gets eaten into the row. Now we're going to move on to row 1 and we're going to stick with the same color. I'm going to do a chain of 1. Doesn't count as a stitch. That's just my turning chain or my chain to get up to the height I need to go to. Can I use one color? You can use one color with this pattern. It will actually look pretty. You'll see it won't look like just single crochets. Actually, I can show you. So if you decide just to use all one color, then you don't have to cut your yarn and stuff. It'll look like this. So the whole blanket will look like this. See how this is all the purple? So you can see it kind of does this cool like chevron sort of texture. It'll look like that without color changes. Okay, let's chain up one. And I always turn, of course, it says turn at the end of the row, but you know, you always chain up one and then turn. So now we're going to turn, right? And then I'm going to single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So here's the first one, here's the second one. So single crochet and single crochet. And now the pattern tells me to, got a little star here. It says chain 4, skip 4, and then single crochet in the next 4. So let's do that part right there. So let's chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I have to skip 4, so I have to skip 4 stitches right here. So let's look at them from the top. Skip, 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 and then single crochet in the next 4. Okay, so here's the next one because I've skipped these 4, and then single crochet in the next one. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, so now if we look at the text here, can I use one? Yeah, so Tatiana, we talked about one color. Okay. If we look at the text here, we did what was in between the star and the semicolon. So I just did that. I chained 4, I skipped 4, I single crocheted in 4. And now the instructions tell me to repeat from the star to the last 6 stitches. So, okay, I'm going to go back to the star and I'm going to do this set of instructions once again. And then I'm just going to keep doing from here to here over and over and over until I get to the very last 6 stitches of the row. Okay, so let's just keep doing that. And that's for any crochet pattern. If you see a star and a semicolon, that's what they want you to do. They want you to repeat what is in between the star and the semicolon till you get to either the end or wherever it tells you to get to. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I need to skip 4. Skip, 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 skip. Single crochet in the next 4. And these are the only 2 stitches we're doing basically. Single crochets and chains. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, if I look at my piece here, I should have 6 stitches left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So what I did was I repeated between the star and the semicolon until I get to the last 6 stitches, which I am at the last 6 stitches. You should always end where it says where the semicolon is, right? So I shouldn't be at chain 4, skip 4. I should be right here where the end of where the instructions end, just before the semicolon, which I am because the last thing I did was single crocheted in those 4 stitches. Okay, I like to explain the pattern so people have good pattern reading skills because you can do a lot once you can read a pattern. Okay, so now I'm at the last 6 stitches and now it tells me to chain 4, skip 4, and then single crochet in the last 2. So of course that equals 6, right? So I chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and single crochet in the last 2. So that's 1, and that's 2. I finished that single crochet, but I'm gonna show you how to change color at this point. Okay, so that's row 1. Now it tells me to change to the next color. So if you were really doing this as the temperature blanket concept, you would be finished right here for the day. Not with a small piece, obviously, with the longer piece. This is just a sample. And then you would wait till the next day. And then when you check your temperature, let's say, oh, okay, today it got even, what color did I use? Arctic. Okay, it got even colder today. So it got down to 38 degrees, let's say. So I'm going to go to my little chart. Okay, 38 degrees. Today is cornflower. Oh, shoot, I don't have cornflower. Let's pretend, what's this one? This one is, oh, it just has a VS 109. 718. 718 orange. I don't know if this one's mislabeled or what. Let's just pretend whatever this color is. I can't find the color because it just has the number. But let's pretend we looked at our chart and we decided that it was this color. Okay, whatever chart you make or whatever chart you use. So we want to, for the next day, change our stripe color and work row 2 in the next stripe color. So to change color, at the end of a row or in the middle of a row, you would not complete the last stitch. So let's pretend we're on the last stitch of the row. Okay, so I would just pull back that one stitch, insert my hook, yarn over, pull through, and then when I'm at this point in the stitch where I would normally yarn over and pull through those 2 loops on the hook, I'm just going to drop this color and I'm going to pick up my new color and put the new color onto my hook and pull the new color through the last 2 loops to complete that single crochet stitch of the last row. And now you can see that the last stitch is all in the Arctic color, and I've set myself up to work my next stitch in the purple color. Okay, that's how you change colors. And we can do that again for the next stripe. So onto row 2, we're going to chain 1 and turn. Chain 1 and turn. I'm going to cut this color because I'm done with the Arctic for now. Leave a long tail. You can seam that in later. Okay, and just pull these so they're not all loose. What I like to do is I'll take this tail and I kind of just work over it so that way it doesn't sort of get loose and unravel. So I just work my first single crochet. Just kind of work over it like, so it catches in there, right? So I'm working my first single crochet right there. And then you can move that tail out of the way. So chain 1, single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So that was 1. And then I'm going to single crochet into the next stitch. So single crochet in the first 2 stitches, 1, 2. Now for my star, it says working in front of the chain 4 space, single crochet in the next 4 skip stitches, 2 rows below. So let me show you what that looks like. So here you have your chain, and then you have these skip stitches down here. This is 1 row below. This is two rows below. All right. So 1, 2, 3. So 1 row below would be the chains, and then 2 rows below would be these skip stitches. So you just simply work into those skip stitches and you're working in front of this chain, right? So I would just go put my hook down here. Okay, now if I go like that, I'm just going to catch that chain.
Hey Liz, are you working in the back loop for row 2 as well?
No, don't work in the back loops for any rows. The only thing we did, now you might be thinking, is the back bump. When we started the chain, we worked into the back bump, but that's not the same as a back loop. So a back loop is if you look at these single crochets, right? This is the, let me get a little, this is the front loop. This is the back loop. If you ever see in, okay, so here's your single crochet, 2 loops. If your pattern says work a single crochet into the next stitch, you always work into under both loops. Always, 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 unless your pattern specifies working in back loops or single crochet back loop only or something to that effect, then you work into the back loop only or the front loop. It might say sometimes it's front loop. Then you would just work the stitch into that back loop. And it would look like, I'm just skipping over to show you. So it would look like, okay, single crochet in the back loop only. I just insert my hook under only the back loop, and then that leaves that front loop open, okay? What I did was I worked into the back bumps of the chain. So when you're working into the back bumps, that's only gonna happen when you, with a starting chain, so at a setup row. And the main reason that we do that is because it just makes a nice clean finish. So if you look, this is the bottom of my chain. You see how it looks like single crochet stitches? That's why I work into the back bump, because it just gives a nice clean finish. So that way your first kind of the bottom of the foundation chain looks the same as your last row. I wonder if, I'll show you. The person who stitched this, which wasn't me, did not work into the back bumps. And it still looks nice and clean and fine, but it doesn't look like a stitch. So really that's kind of another like personal preference thing. It's not gonna do, it's not gonna really make any kind of change to your final piece. It's just gonna have a little bit of a cleaner look like that, as opposed to like this. For me, it's easier to work in the back bump too. That's kind of why I do it, because working into the center of the chains, it kind of like pulls them apart, and then I get like I can't see them as well. So that's just a personal thing. You don't necessarily have to, unless your pattern tells you, because there are some times when you need to work in the back bump. If the pattern doesn't say it, you can do it or you cannot do it. Either one will work. But if it says it, you need to do it, because there might be a reason why later you need to use those other 2 loops for something. Okay, so we are on row 2. I just, oh, let me see, somebody had a question. Are you working the back loop for, yeah, so no back loop. We just talked about the difference between the back bump of a chain and the back loop, which is referring to stitches. So there's back loops and front loops, and that only refers to stitches, not chains. Okay. All right, Tatiana, I'm gonna try to go slow and answer any questions that you have. But remember, you can always watch the replay. I know it's a lot of info. Okay, so now we are on row 2, and we're just working in front of the chain space. So really, you just have to insert your hook into that stitch below. So just kind of go across that chain, and then grab your yarn over. And then when I pull up to work that single crochet, kind of give it some slack, pull it up a bit so you can get some height there, right? Because you don't want it to be too tight. So then yarn over again and pull through, and now I've made a single crochet. Let's do that for all 4 of these, right? So we're just making the single crochet. It's just going into a different spot than we did before. So pull it up so you have enough slack there, and single crochet. It's kind of like a spike stitch, and single crochet, and single crochet. So now you can see my height is good, right? Looks like the height I should be at, because I have these 2 single crochets and then I have these 4 single crochets. If I didn't give it that slack or kind of pull that stitch up, let me show you what happens if I just went single without giving it some single, single, like at your normal tension, right? It's going to squish it down a bit. See how it kind of dips down a little bit? So just give it a little bit of pull, just pull it up to the height where it needs to be, okay? So that way it kind of matches the height of where that chain is. So working in front of the chain, pull up that to the height and yarn over, pull through. Yarn over, pull up to the height, yarn over, pull through. And I'm going through both loops, of course. Pull up to the height, yarn over, pull through. And like that. And that's how you get that sort of chevron look that I was talking about. Okay, so we did that, and now it's got some double stars here. Don't let those confuse you. I'll explain what the double star is. So I did from here to here, okay? And now it says chain 4, skip the next 4 stitches, and then I have my semicolon. So what I want to do is between the single star and the semicolon, just like we did in row 1, okay? So I worked in the 4 skip stitches 2 rows below. Now I want to chain 4, skip the next 4 stitches, and then I have my semicolon. So chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip the next 4 stitches. So skip, 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 and skip the next 4 stitches, and now go back to the repeat. Okay, so now we're going to go back to the star, working front of the chain 4 space, single crochet in the 4 skip stitches 2 rows below. And that kind of makes sense because, you know, that's what we did right here. So we're just going to do that again. So I'm going to go to those 4 single crochets, just like we did before. Bring it up so you have some height. We're just doing single crochets. They're just kind of long single crochets, similar to spike stitches. And, okay. And now it says, repeat from start to the last 2 stitches. Well, I have more than 2 stitches, so I need to continue from start. I need to keep repeating from start until I get to the last 2. So let's do that one more time. I'm at chain 4 and skip 4, right? Someone have a question?
Yeah, Liz.
Okay.
Sorry, I lost the
Okay.
question for a second. Are you covering up the chain with the stitches? Is the question?
Yeah, I am working sort of around it. So it's going to be better, I think, to work around it. I think the wording, I probably should have said work around it instead of in front of it, because I think working around it is going to sort of catch it in there. Yeah, she worked around it. So catch it in there. So work around the whole chain. So you're working in front of it, but also just around it. Just work around it, if that makes sense. Very exciting to have teacher respond to chat com. Yeah, I need to respond to the chat. That's why we do it in a live format, so we can answer questions as we go. So are you covering up the chain with the stitches? Yes, we are covering up the chain with the stitches, and I'll show you that on this one, so I can show you what I mean. So I'm going to do chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip those 4. Now I'm going to go into this single crochet, right? Let me show you what happens in the back so you can see what I mean by covering up the chain. When I grab this yarn here, this strand is going over the back of the chain. Okay, and then it's sort of, I don't want to say encapsulating. I guess encapsulating is the word. It's, the chain is getting like stuck in between the stitch. See, so there's the back of the stitch and there's the front of the stitch. The chain is in between this, the chain is inside the stitch. If I were to move this chain out of the way and go like that, that would be different, right? That chain would be hanging out there. So we want to make sure you go, you have the chain in between, like encapsulated in the stitch, okay? So insert it from the front to the back, and then grab the yarn over, grab the strand, pull it through to the front, and then yarn over, pull through too. And then the back of the stitch is in the back and the front of the stitch is in the front. As opposed to if I just went like this, and then the chain is hanging out there, right? You see what I mean? Make sure you catch the chain inside the stitch like we did here, okay? Hopefully that makes sense. I'm having trouble finding the words, but you have to catch the chain within those single crochets. So everything's nice, and so you don't have any sort of chains hanging around in the back. Okay. Now we did those 4 single crochets. That's what it looks like on the back. So it's kind of reversible. It's going to look very nice on the front and the back. To the last 2 stitches, here's my last 2 stitches, ending the last repeat at star star. So here's where my star star is, or my double star. And what I did was I single crocheted in the skip stitches 2 rows below. So that's the last thing I did, right? So I ended on the star star, and now I have 2 stitches left. So I just need to single crochet in those last 2 stitches, the tops of those last 2 stitches. So 1 and 2. Okay, it's the same as the pattern. Yes, it should be. Really, this should have said, so if you want to make a little correction on your pattern, I think it would have been more clear if I had said working around instead of in front of. That makes more sense. Okay, everyone's with me. If you wanted to make a blanket with one color using the pattern, chevron pattern is just to follow the pattern. Yes, Gina, that is absolutely correct. And it would be a lot easier because then you wouldn't have to weave in all those ends. So if you want to make it just like how I showed you with that sort of chevron pattern, just like this, it would just look like that. And you could use all one color. It'd be nice and thick. And it would be reversible too, because it looks exactly the same on the other side. So that would be really pretty too. And then you could do it whenever you want. You wouldn't have to wait, every day for the temperature to change. Okay, so now that we did row 2, it says change to the next color. Now, if my temperature didn't change, if it was still in the same range, we could do another row with the same color. So let's pretend that. Let's pretend temperature didn't change, and we're just going to do another row in the same color, so we don't have to cut. Now it says chain 1, so we're on to row 3. Chain 1, single crochet in the first 2 stitches. So this is going to be similar to the other row we did. Can you slowly? Yes, I'll change color in the next row, and I'll show you how to do it really slowly. It's very easy once you get the hang of it. So single crochet in the first 2 stitches, and now chain 4, skip 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Skip these 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and working around. Chain 4 space, single crochet in the 4 skip stitches 2 rows below. So skip these. What you're always going to be skipping are the single crochets. You're never going to skip chains. So just kind of keep that in mind. If you're like, oh, you may have done something wrong if you're at a point where you have chains and you should be skipping. You should only be skipping the single crochets. So now we're going to work around this chain and single crochet into these stitches 2 rows below. So around the chain, pull up a little bit to get me a good height, and single crochet. Next stitch, around the chain, pull up, yarn over, pull through. And once you do a few rows of this, you'll be like a super pro, because It gets very repetitive. And now I know, okay, at this point, I know I need to chain 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then here I am over here working around the chain. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now I have 6 stitches left, and let me see. So this one says to the last 6 stitches, and then chain 4, skip 4, single crochet in the last 2. It's pretty much the same as row 1. Chain 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, skip these 4, and single crochet in the last 2. So you'll always have 2 single crochets in the beginning and 2 single crochets, or 2 single crochets on the right side and 2 single crochets on the left side. And that's just kind of to keep the edges even. Okay, so that's row 3. And now it just kind of repeats from here. And at this point, you would switch your colors every day. Or not at all if you don't feel like switching colors. Or you could just maybe say, do like something fun, like I'm just going to do 3 rows of each color and just have it evenly striped like that, right? So let's change color again. Do you like yarn bee? I like yarn bee yarn. I like all, I'm partial to like smooth worsted weight yarn because I feel like it's easier to crochet with. The textured stuff is really fun and people love it, but it's a little bit harder to work with. Okay, so I'm at my last stitch, and this is where we need to change color. So you always change color at the last yarn over of the last stitch. So let's say I'm on my last stitch. I'm going to do the first part of the stitch where I insert under both loops. I yarn over, pull through. Now that I have 2 loops on my hook, what you would normally do with a single crochet is yarn over and pull through and complete the single crochet, right? At this point is where you want to drop the purple before you complete the stitch and grab the new color. So when you have those 2 loops on your hook before the last yarn over, grab the new color, and then just with the tail end, actually it doesn't really matter if the tails, it doesn't really matter where the tail goes. You're just going to put that strand over your hook like that, and then pull the new strand through to complete the stitch. And now you have that loop on your hook, and you're set up to begin another row with a new color. But also the last row is all in purple. So you've completed the last stitch all in purple. So that's why we do it at the last yarn over. Okay, and then we're going to chain up 1, turn your work, and see how it's kind of a little loose here. So what I like to do, and this is just personal preference too, is I'm just going to pull these so they don't just unravel everywhere. And then I'm going to take this is the working yarn. It's attached to the ball. That's what I'm working with. I'm going to take the tail and just sort of lay it over there and catch that tail into the stitch. And that's just because it keeps things from just sort of being too loose on the edges. So I'm going to go under the 2 loops of the stitch, yarn over, and just catch that tail in there. So when I yarn over, see that tail is like that. Okay, let me show you. If you don't feel like doing, if that seems too hard or like, I can't figure out how to catch that, you don't have to do that. That's totally a personal thing. If I just leave that tail there, I chained up 1, I can just make my single crochet and then just pull it down like that.
Hey Liz, when you're done with all your rows, do you need to end on row 3, or is there a different finishing row?
There should be a finishing row. Let me see. I put the finishing row? Poster pattern. I didn't put the finishing row. So you should, what you should do to finish, and I'll update the pattern, or you just write it in for now, because because if you end on any of the rows, whether it's 2 or 3, you're going to have these open spaces and you don't really want that. So what you're going to do to end the row, and I don't know why it didn't end up in the pattern, because I think I made that correction a while back. So I apologize for that. But once you end, you just want to do single crochets across. So let me show you. So single crochet and all the single crochets, and do the, instead of doing the, do the single crochets in the ones below, like that. That way you don't have any like chain 4 spaces with holes. Okay, and now there's the single crochets. I'm going to single crochet there. This is just for the last row. I'm going to single crochet here. The same as I was doing before, where I'm working around the chain. And then single crochet. And then there's that last space. So just like we were doing on rows 2 and 3, work around. And this is just for the final row, so you have a nice clean edge, so you don't have these chain 4s. And like I said, sorry that's not in the pattern for you guys, but hopefully you can just do a little, make yourself a little note. And then it would be like that. So that would be your last stitch. I mean, your last row, not your last stitch. So it looks just like the rest of it. Let me see, what do we have for? We still have a couple more minutes. We went over the rows. We went over changing color. And I can see if anyone has any questions. Here's the thing I don't love about temperature blankets, a little bit of a, I guess, a negative, right? You have all these sort of ends to weave in. So you could maybe keep them really long and then cut them evenly and maybe make like fringe. You could do that, but the fringe would be along the sides of your blanket, not along like the bottom and the top. But if you don't mind that, you could do that. What I would do though is maybe make like a knot. So let's say I want to make fringe, I would just put like a little knot in there. So that way it doesn't get all loosey goosey on the ends. Or you can, put a little knot like that, maybe make some fringe, or you can just weave them all in. Let me show you how to weave them in case anyone doesn't know that. Like I said, there will be a lot to weave in. So I'm just going to grab my tapestry needle, grab my little tail, and then weave it in. And you only need to go a few like zigzag, right? So go under this one, go under this one, maybe like 3 zigzags is what I usually do. And then I kind of go this way. And then I go one more this way. And cut that. And now that little end is woven in. So you don't have to worry about it. And then you'll have a nice clean edge. So like I said, that's a lot of ends to weave in because you're going to have them on both sides. Now, if you do all solid, you don't have to worry about weaving in ends, only the ones where you have to add a new ball. If you do a change of color every 3rd row, you can just pull it up the side, right? Like pull the yarn up the side so you don't have to weave in the end. So like you would do 1 row and then do another row, and when you get back here you would just grab that end and pull it up. Or you could do what's called a double border, which is really cool, but it's kind of a lot. So if you're interested in that, just look up on YouTube. It's called a double border or an envelope border. If I had more time, I would totally go over it with you guys because it's really fun. So cool. I'm thinking I'm not patient to do the temperature of this. Yeah, the squares might be fun. Or even if you did like, okay, I'm just gonna like say all my temperatures from last year, like look up all your temperatures from the year before, because I don't know, for me personally, it's hard to just do like one row a day. But it's a really cool thing, and I know a lot of people love it. So if you're into that, then give it a try. If you want to just do it so it looks like this, just go by the pattern. Make sure you add that last row that I forgot to add for you guys. And if you want to do all solid, I think that would look great too. So if anyone has any other questions. So you guys have been really great. I know it was a large class and we had a lot of people, so hopefully it wasn't too distracting, but hopefully I got to answer your questions. And if it was too fast, or if you didn't really get if you missed something, just check out the replay on YouTube. Thank you guys for being here, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. And come see me again, because I do about one class per month for Michael's. I usually do crochet, but once in a while we do some fun like pom-pom things and stuff like that, okay? So check out all the classes and sign up for another one. Have a great rest of your weekend, you guys, and I'll see you next time. Bye.